Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Death in Cambodia, Life in America. Today, we have a very, very special guest, my wonderful Auntie Amanda. And going back, so you guys remember when Robert mentioned how my grandma had to hide one sibling away from the Khmer Rouge out of fear that that child would get taken away? Well, this is her. This is my Auntie Amanda. She and Robert had crossed paths many, many times throughout this journey. And I'm so excited to have her on today. Throughout Robert's story, she's going to kind of weave in and out of the story so that we can get some of her perspective of that time frame, and it kind of easily aligned with Robert's story as well. But more importantly, today we're going to introduce her, and she's going to be able to shed some light on what life was like in the camps where my grandmother was, also in hiding. I also want to point out that this episode was really hard for my Auntie Amanda to get through. This was the first time, again, that she has traveled back to that time period and really had to kind of pull these memories out. So, Auntie Amanda, if you're listening, I appreciate you sitting down. I'm sure all the listeners do. I think her perspective is very important. I think there probably were a lot of kids out there who had to be in hiding, and that in itself is a very different experience. So, thank you, Amanda. I love you and I appreciate you. All right, guys. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Death in Cambodia, Life in America. Today, we have a very special guest here with us. This is my Auntie Amanda, and she is going to put in her experiences and her memories of the time from a different perspective. So, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yes, yes. So why don't we first start off with just introductions, mention your name, when you were born, and your relationship with Robert.
Okay, well, my name is Amanda. I was born in 1969. As far as day and month, not quite sure because all record was lost during the war. So that's what I was told.
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a child, my relationship with Robert was quite special because I was a very timid and very shy young child, and I liked to follow him everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're the younger sister.
I am his younger sister.
Okay.
And
in relation to the whole family, so it goes Ba.
My other brother,
right?
Yeah, Hatch,
Mm-hmm.
and then living me,
right?
And then my younger sister, and then my youngest brother, who had passed away in 2009.
Right.
So, so now there's just four of us.
So I wanted to bring you in and just kind of weave you into the story, but definitely let's start off with the very beginning. Maybe just give me a little bit about your childhood and going into what you remember of the Khmer Rouge, the very first memory of it.
Okay. At the beginning, of course, before the Khmer Rouge took over, we were living in the city. We did try to escape. Everybody moved toward the Thai border. Robert wasn't with us at that time, so it was my parents and other siblings without Robert. And we were waiting for him to cross into Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
But since Robert wasn't there, my parents didn't have the heart to leave without him. So all the family left, and, without Robert, we had to go back. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
So we went back to the city where we were. And I believe, I don't know the time frames, probably within the same week, all the soldiers came to town. And
How old were you at this time?
probably 7. So I remember all the soldiers came in with guns and riding trucks, told everybody to leave, just walk out, even though you have cars. You cannot take your cars. You can only take whatever you can carry, and you just leave the town. So we were fortunate that my grandparents on my mom's side had a house in the countryside. So we all, carry what we can carry, and just everybody, you can imagine the whole town just exit the city and walking away from the city. And we seek refuge at my grandparents' house in the countryside. They had a big house. So we went to stay there.
Do you remember the walk from the city to Grandma's house?
Yes, I just remember just a lot of people exiting the city. It would take, I believe, I don't know how many hours. 3 to 4 hours, I would think, from the city, or probably longer. But I just remember, I just didn't understand, was really confused, or was scared, and everybody just left. So at the beginning, at my grandparents' place, it was nice. They had a big house, and then we stayed there for, I don't know the time frames. At the beginning, it was fine, and then slowly the Khmer Rouge, started separating families, taking the older children to labor camp to brainwash. So then my two older brothers, Robert and Hatch, were taken away. I was very small in stature physically, 7-year-old. So my parents did not want them to take me away. At age 7, they would take you away at that age as well to quote unquote educate you. So another word, brainwash you.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents didn't think I would survive if they let them, take me. So my mom decided to hide me from the system. So I was not allowed to just go out during the day. I would just be hidden away from anybody.
So let's kind of dive into that moment. Where do you remember when Mama had to stand there and lie to the Khmer Rouge and say, "No, I don't have another daughter"? Or do you remember that moment? Were you there?
No, I did not, witness that part of it, but I was just told that I cannot, go out. I need to stay hidden during the daytime, or I would be taken away and never see them again.
That's what Mama told you.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I said, oh, I was scared. So I was a very good child. I was very obedient. I listened and I stay away from people, and just pretty much my grandmother had a very nice property. She had a big lake in the back, lilies and lotus, and so the house was situated near a stream and river. So I occupy my time just, kind of exploring nature.
But that's during the nighttime, right? You couldn't be out during the day?
Well, sometime during the day I would go out too, because there's nobody around to tell me. So I would, go out in the back where there's no people. I would go out. I was able to go out a little bit more freely, like go across the street into the river to bathe myself, because there's no inside bathroom or anything like that. So there's an outhouse, and you shower, you take bath, or you wash yourself in the river. So,
what do you remember the very first time you had to hide, and where were your hiding places? Were they mostly in closets or beds, or where did Mama tell you this is where you have to stay, or else, and try to make sure nobody sees you?
well, those quote unquote houses, they were like more like a hutch,
Right, like a hut.
A hut
with straw.
a straw hut. Yeah. So there's no closet or anything. It's built on stilts, and you just have like the floor and section off into different section for bedrooms. Like there's not many places you can hide, but I just stay inside and in plain sight. But if anybody come around, sometime I would go out into the back and to hide in whatever. One time I was hiding in the field outside the back, and during the winter time there's some water back there, so I remember just hiding, like just submerging myself and just hiding in between the sugar canes. I think there's like a sugar cane, so kind of just hiding in between when they do come around and search.
That's lucky that you never got caught.
Right. So I remember there's a couple of times there was questioning about it, and my mom would lie, saying, "Oh, she was just here for the day or something," and she's like, she's going back, and then I would disappear again. So yeah. So since I wasn't registered in the systems, you have to go to a cafeteria during the war. This is like probably in the trench of it, like a couple years in. At the beginning, it was fine, but toward the middle and toward the end, food kept getting more scarce. That's like there's not much food.
Were you still at Grandma's place at this time?
Oh, yes.
2 years in?
No. So at the beginning, we stay at the grandmother's, and then they would make you leave that property. It was a nice property, so they just, you just need to leave.
At what point was that at?
I would think probably a year in. I'm not sure. Probably Robert probably has more recollection. So we moved to a different place. They put us in a different location.
And what was that place like?
Again, just another
hut.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a smaller hut. So they made my grandparents leave also. So they took over their properties.
Right.
And then just kicked them all out.
Right. So you were at this new location after about a year in, and you still had to hide. You had to find new hiding places at this new location. Or I guess there's really, as I said, there's really no hiding places. Like it's just kind of like if they happen to catch you, they catch you.
Right.
So, but all this time you were very, very lucky. You figured out a way, I guess, because maybe you were smaller too, and you were able to get out quickly, or
yeah. So I mean, I was very small, so they probably didn't think too much of it, and then plus I stayed out of plain sight during the day. And when they moved my parent from location to work, different type of work camps, I remember being with them, but at the same time, not with them. So they would go off into the work field during the day. I would just stay hidden, whichever location we happened to be. So, not much interaction with other children, or again, there were no children around except for the very, very small, the adult, and then the elderly. So.
Must have been very lonely.
Yeah, so, look into being, entertain myself with nature, with whatever I can find around.
What is one memory that you remember from that time period? How were you feeling on a day-to-day basis? I mean, daily routine must have just been waking up and just trying to avoid people, and you don't get to really see people throughout the day. Mama and Yeye are out.
Yeah, I just, it was a lot of fear. of course, every day is about survival. Every day is looking for a way to not get caught or get killed. Of course, I mean, during the war, there's also a lot of fighting going on as well, other than just, hiding and trying to survive and having food. But also another thing is running away from bombs as well. So there's one part I remember, like, in the middle of the night, and then, in there you just hear bombing. So then you just get up and start running. So, you don't know where to run. You just run out into the field and just hoping that you survive. So I remember some of those parts, which, again, that stay with me, and that part, like, even after we came to the United States, it's still, I think I probably had 3 or 4 years of nightmare, like, especially during 4th of July when you hear firework, I would get up, and it's just automatic. I would jump out of bed and start running. Yeah, every day was just about survival. Yeah.
Not being able to be a part of the system means that you don't get food portions.
Correct. Yes, you have to be registered. They have leaders per each section of the town. You have to go to a cafeteria, like, to get your meals. Since I'm not in the system, I don't go into the cafeteria to get portion of my meal. So I rely on my parents to bring food back home, and there's not much. Most of the time it's just some rice, where they get porridge, and Mom and my grandmother would just save some of the rice portion, put it in their pocket, and bring it back to feed me. And
do you remember one instance?
Right. This one scene that will forever stay with me is the part when I witnessed my grandmother. She's very, she's old, and I know she was hungry. But she still gave me her portion, and I remember her flipping out her pocket and trying to pick just any leftover pieces of rice that got stuck into her pocket to eat. So at that moment, it really struck me, even though as a child, what sacrifices my parents and my grandmother made to keep me alive. I am forever grateful for them. But that moment, it just struck me in the heart, what they did for me.
Whew, you guys, wasn't that something? Oh, I remember recording that episode and feeling like my heart was dropping to the ground. I mean, there were many points recording this show that I'd felt that way, but definitely my Auntie Amanda bringing that up was one of them. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you guys are, I would love, please, if you can subscribe and leave a wonderful review for us. That makes it super easy for other people to find us and kind of tune in on the shows as well. If you guys have any questions or if you wanted to check us out, we are online at www.deathincambodiapodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening, guys, and I will catch you guys next week.